G'day, welcome to Deep and Meaningfuls with Furzey. On this episode, I'm chatting with Jesse Campbell. You know how the fact that venomous snakes can kill you is a bit scary? Well, Jesse doesn't really feel that fear. Jesse loves them, so much so that he goes out into the bush and he finds them and he picks them up and he hangs out with them. He can't get enough of them. He's got an excellent YouTube channel where he explores all kinds of creatures, but specifically reptiles and frogs. In this chat, you can expect to learn about flying reptiles, how snakes make love, the easiest way to get eaten by a crocodile, how to survive a snake bite, which insect is the most heavy metal, and a lot more fascinating fauna facts. Jesse's a chill guy who does hectic things. I had a great time chatting with him. Go check out his YouTube and Instagram. You won't be disappointed. Thank you for tuning in. If you're enjoying the pod, please give me a rating, share it with your mates. I'd really appreciate it. Here is my conversation with Jesse Campbell. So Jesse, bro, I found you on Instagram. It was on YouTube. I stumbled across your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I think I sat there and watched at least an hour of your videos.
Oh, really?
I was meant to be going to sleep, but I'm watching you picking up snakes and finding lizards and frogs and watching you in Borneo.
Yeah.
Man, you've been on some wildlife adventures.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. It sort of started out with just wanting to see reptiles, but now I've sort of got a bit of a thing for traveling as well, I think. And it's not just about looking for reptiles. I think I just like going out, getting out into new places. But Sydney is boring so any opportunity I have to get out of Sydney, I'll take it.
Sure. Yeah, I can't. I mean, you've probably exhausted all of your wildlife hunting adventures where you live, right?
Yeah, big time. Well, I mean, I can still get out and find a bunch of cool things, and I do that most days when I have a chance. But yeah, I definitely prefer to. The grass is always greener on the other side. It's always better to get out of Sydney, even though there's some sick things around.
So how did you get into this? Like, because you're one of those people who you do things with wildlife and with animals and stuff that most people would be terrified of doing. You know, like, what's wrong with you? Why are you picking up snakes? You know,
yeah,
why are you like this?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I used to be scared of snakes. I used to be scared of lizards and everything. I used to just play my PlayStation and do stuff like that when I was like way younger. But then, I don't know, I went to my mate's place one day and he chucked a diamond python on me that he had as a pet. And I was so scared at first. And then, like, it was just chill. It was so calm. And then I was like, that's so weird. This thing is, it's not like aggressive or it's not biting me. It's just a friendly snake. And I was like, this is actually sick. And then, like, I don't know, I stayed at his house that night and I just, the entire time, just had his snake out pretty much. It sounds weird. I had his diamond out. And then, yeah, like, from then on. Yeah. And then from then on, it was just, there was no going back, and it just snowballed from there.
Yeah. It is interesting with snakes. Like, I think everybody naturally has a fear of snakes because we know they can kill us if they want to. Butterflies and cockroaches can't really kill you. But when you hang out with a snake and you realize, for me, there was not that I've spent that much time with snakes, but when there's a moment when you have a friend who has a pet snake and you hang out with it and you realize this is actually just, it really is not that dissimilar to a cat or a dog. It's a domesticated animal. This is a pet. It's his friend. It can show being angry. It can show being happy. It can show you that it loves you and want to hang out with you just like a cat or a dog can.
Mm-hmm.
And when you make that connection and go, oh, wow, you actually kind of can see this like a reptile's personality.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
21.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Orange, so central west New South Wales.
Oh, yeah.
And had 100 acres as a kid growing up. So spent a lot of time, just running around on the property and came across a few snakes because we would go up to where the chicken shed was and it was a bit of a walk up to where the chooks were. And there was one time that I didn't even see it. I stepped over, I think it was probably a red belly black snake or a yellow belly black snake.
Yeah.
And maybe it was a brown snake, actually. I think it was a brown snake because I didn't even think about it. And my dad, after I told him that it had happened, because I saw it, he was like, holy shit. He was really and he was terrified of snakes, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's this one, I got to tell you this story. I remember once I'm with my dad. We're out the front of the property. He's mowing the long lawn. He's doing something with the long lawn. And I was sitting in the back of the ute, and I thought it would be funny to prank him. And I go, Dad, snake. And he didn't even say anything, didn't ask anything. He jumped into the back of the ute without using his hands. And this, like just adrenaline just must have pumped through his veins. And he has launched straight into the back of the ute without. And I was like watching, going, "Holy shit!" And he was like, "Where?" And then I had to tell him that it wasn't actually that I was lying, but it was the most amazing thing. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so
I've done that to a few of my mates as well. They don't find it very funny.
Yeah, it is amazing, that visceral response that people have.
Yeah. That
sounds like you were saying you had before you had this encounter with your friend's pet, that it's so powerful, huh?
Yeah. Now it's not the snakes that I'm scared of, it's grasshoppers.
Why?
I don't know. They just look like aliens, and they bite and they fly and they just look freaky. And yeah, I can't do it. My mates always put them on me when we're out looking for snakes, and it's.
I love this. The one thing that was going to be my question. What are you scared of? The one thing that you, the guy who's picking up like snakes that could easily kill you, is concerned about grasshoppers. Yeah,
no, they're fucked. I can't stand them.
They are pretty hectic. There's one that's been eating my lemon tree, and he's massive, and the little bastard. I can't bring myself to kill him though, because he's too big. You know what I mean? Like flies. I got one of those salt guns, and I can shoot the flies. Yeah. I don't feel any remorse. But the grasshopper is too big. I can't do it. I feel like it's too much.
Nah, you'd need like a frying pan or something for a big grasshopper. But they get big down here as well. They freak me out so much. They get in the house, and like I've had them in my room and stuff before. It's not fun.
So how did you go from hanging out with your friend's pet python, which is a non-venomous domesticated pet, to the shit that you're doing on your YouTube channel, where you're tallying up the most dangerous snakes that we have in Australia, and you're finding them in person and touching them and picking them up and holding them and just hanging out with them?
Yeah, well, I don't know, like after staying at my mate's place, it sort of went to, I wanted to just get a bearded dragon as a pet and just start keeping reptiles. And then from there I was like, I want to go do a bit of herping today, and I'd go do that and give it a go.
A bit of what?
Oh, do you not know what herping is?
Nah.
Oh, herping is what you call looking for reptiles.
Herping?
It sounds weird, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I have to clear the air with that one.
Just head out, get on the herp, let's go,
Yeah, well, I did that, and then the first day we did it, I saw like a red belly, and I thought it was the sickest thing ever. And then,
so you just went out. You just went, fuck it, I'm just going to go and try and find some reptiles.
Yeah, down the creek when I was like 11 or 12 or something.
Wow, okay.
I didn't pick him up then, but yeah, it was just sick to see him. And then, now it's just like seeing him in the wild is so exciting for me. So most of my trips is just centered around looking for reptiles. I do still keep reptiles as well, but it's mostly seeing them in the wild is what gets me going.
When it comes to the dangerous ones, do you know, like, what do you do if you get bitten?
You have to
bitten by a poisonous snake. Yeah, what's the protocol?
Yeah, you have to put a compression bandage on, which just slows down the blood flow because the venom travels through the lymphatic system. So you have to try and isolate that and stop it from spreading around your body. And then once you need to like stay still, stay calm. You can't move around or do anything that's going to get your heart rate up, because that'll just pump the blood around your body and push the venom further into your system. And then, you just got to call for help and go to the hospital. And then, sometimes you might need anti-venom.
I remember seeing this video of Steve Irwin getting bitten by a lizard. It was I don't know if have you watched much Steve Irwin?
Yeah, I can't think of the video you're talking about.
Well, I can't find it either. I remember seeing, because it was pretty graphic. It was a big, don't know if
goanna?
It might have been a goanna. I think it was a goanna. And he's obviously done his Steve Irwin thing. And it's big, man. And it bites him on the forearm. And it's like, it's around here. And it is hanging off his arm. And he just goes about his business and starts talking to the camera, talking about what's happening. And it won't let go.
Yeah, right.
And he's bleeding a lot. And he's talking to the camera. And you can see the adrenaline in his face. You can see how stressed he is. But you can also see that he's Steve fucking Irwin, you know?
Yeah,
He's doing the thing that he does. That he believes that it is more important to describe what's happening than it is to freak out about getting bitten. And then it gets to a point where this is in like, guys, we need to cut the camera and actually get this goanna off me because this is becoming a real issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't find the video. Maybe I've made it up, but I'm certain. No, I'm certain that this is how. I'm certain that. Yeah, and maybe it's probably because it's too graphic.
Yeah, no, that'd be real bad. I would hate to cop a bite from a big one. I've had like small goannas and stuff by me, like sand monitors and black-headed monitors and stuff like that. But, actually, the worst bite that I've ever had was this blue tongue that was like 30 centimeters long. And I was just too cocky with it. And I thought, no way would a bite from this thing hurt. And it just bit me on the finger and it just like lockjawed and just started twisting. And it was so painful and I couldn't get it off. And yeah, it was without a doubt, that was like the most painful bite I've had, I reckon.
Really? And they do that crocodile roll instinct, don't they?
Yeah.
They just
yeah. It wasn't fun. Like even like shinglebacks and stuff have bitten me on the fingernails before, and it just feels like you've shut your finger in a car door. They've got so much pressure, and I'd rather get bitten by something with sharp teeth than something that has really sharp, like a lot of pressure like that.
Interesting. Because because the pressure is what can do the damage. That can actually. Well, you think if you scale that, imagine if you're the prey of something like that. It's just gonna. Yeah. That's just gonna rip your flesh off.
Yeah. Well, earlier this year, I got. I was taking this big. Well, it wasn't a big scrubby. It was like a 3-meter scrub python off the road, and I was taking it off and looked up. So
pythons, just so everyone's clear, pythons are not venomous, right?
Yeah, they're not venomous at all. They just got lots of sharp teeth.
Yep.
But yeah, I was taking it off, looked up to see a car coming, and it grabbed me on the thigh, and that was fine. Like. It wasn't even bad, but then, yeah, if I had to pick between that or the blue tongue bite again, I'd probably pick that, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Did it bleed much?
Yeah, bled a lot. Python bites always bleed heaps. It left a few teeth in my thigh as well. But
the teeth came out?
Yeah, I've got some in a jar upstairs that I pulled out.
Wow, okay. So it's I didn't realize because they kind of hook down and don't they?
Yeah. It was just like, it felt like a grippy punch almost. Like punch.
I feel you. Yeah, wow. Do you know what venom feels like? If someone was bitten by a venomous snake, do you know? Like, does your body shut down?
It depends. Like, it varies from snake to snake because everything has different venom. I've spoken to a few people that have been bitten, and they said it's like. It just feels like tingling and stuff at first, or it feels real hot. And then, usually like, I don't know, most people say when you've been envenomated because snakes can give dry bites as well where they don't inject any venom. But,
they can choose whether to kill you or not.
Yeah.
Wow. And, I had no idea, man. That's like some samurai shit, you know? Like they can basically punch you or they can stab you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's up to them. They go, no, you know what? You don't deserve to die.
Yeah. But like I say that most people know when they've been envenomated, but there are like certain things like brown snakes and stuff where you could be bitten and you don't know whether you've been envenomated or not until it's too late.
Oh, so brown snakes, is that what happens? It creeps up on you?
They don't really have too many like localized symptoms like pain and swelling and stuff, I think. They work on your organs, and
it's even like more intense, isn't it? That it is designed to not even let you know that you've been bitten. It's just like, no, I'm just going to kill you before you know it. You'll be dead.
Yeah.
It's so hardcore. It's not like I don't even want to warn you. I don't want you to know. You're just dead.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about the brown snake bites, so they did a study. I forget who did the study. I remember reading this like last year or something, but the over 50% of bites from brown snakes are dry bites where they don't inject any venom. And then, so it's like you've got a less than 50% chance of being envenomated if you are bitten. But also interesting with eastern brown snakes, which is like the most widespread brown snake, is the juveniles have venom that's more specialized to killing lizards. And so that's like it'll still kill the person, but it's not as toxic to people. And then as they sort of grow big enough to feed on rodents and other small mammals and stuff, that venom shifts to be more mammal targeted.
Yeah, wow. I had no idea.
It'll kill you regardless though, and that's all that matters. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but it's a tapered poison for its specific prey.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. And then if you look at like an inland taipan, like the world's most venomous snake, the reason they have such toxic venom is because they live out on the black soil plains where they could go months without seeing a rat. So when they see a rat and they bite it, they need to kill it quickly so that it doesn't get away because they could miss that potential meal. So when they bite rats, they kill them within like 5-10 seconds. They don't get far. Yeah.
Okay,
but they've never killed people.
Oh, really?
Never got a recorded death to the name because they live so far away from people, so remote.
Well, I wonder too if it's so toxic and you're out somewhere that you shouldn't be, and the people are probably never going to find you. You're dead. You're dead.
Yeah, but I know that people have been bitten and their hearts stopped beating, so technically they died, and then they've been revived. But that doesn't really count because they didn't really seal the deal, you know.
Yeah. Didn't see yes. Yeah, the snake's sitting in the corner going, bugger, nearly had it.
Yeah. He's watching from the side.
So that's amazing. So it's designed to kill its prey fast.
Yeah.
And what your organs they just shut down.
Yeah, for the taipan is not a good one to be bitten by.
Okay, so well, I know that there's some stat that is something like in Australia we have 9 of the 10 most venomous snakes in the world. Is that right?
10.
All of them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the most venomous snakes in the world are all in Australia?
Pretty sure, yeah.
In captivity? In the wild?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain it's 10 because it recently got changed to add in the Western Desert taipan into the top 5.
What's the top 5? What are the what's the badass ranking of snakes? What's start with number 5?
Since they've added in the Western Desert taipan, I think it goes tiger snake number 5.
And they're beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah, they're sick. They're great snakes. I like them a lot, and they're really variable as well.
Okay.
So it goes tiger snake number 5.
Yeah.
Coastal taipan number 4.
Okay.
Western Desert taipan number 3, Eastern Brown number 2, Inland taipan number 1.
Oh wow! Okay, so the taipans are really dominant.
Yeah,
the taipan. You don't want to fuck with the taipan.
They're the best snakes. So
what makes you say that? What do you think is the best about them?
Oh, they're so cool. Like coastal taipans are so smart, and I don't know. They just know they're venomous.
Can you describe what a taipan looks like, or do they change so much?
Yeah, well, each one looks different, each different species. The coastal taipans have got like a really dominant head, a thinner neck and a really broad head. They've got a red eye, which is pretty sick.
Wow.
And yeah, they've got sort of like a creamish underbelly, and they can be a bit darker on top. They get really big. I think they're the largest venomous snake as well in Australia. They're found like along the east coast from like Brisbane-ish up into the Cape York and then across to the Kimberleys. So like northeast Australia. Okay. And then the inlands are found out in the black soil plains out in the middle of nowhere, like West Queensland, northern South Australia.
And they're the worst ones.
Yeah.
Or the best ones.
Yeah. And they're cool because they change their colours in winter and summer. So they darken up a lot over winter and go really dark because they need to absorb that heat to keep themselves warm. Then in summer when it's really hot, they go like a really nice bright yellow colour. They're stunning.
Really?
Yeah. Then the Western Desert taipan's like a more gold sort of color. They're a lot more slender. Again, they've got that thin neck and the more broad head. They look sort of similar to Western brown snakes. And until recently-ish, like the past few decades, people were just mistaking them for Western brown snakes. And then that's when the new species got described.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. So taipans are interesting because I've never really considered the different types of snakes, because you think there's like the glamour snakes, right? Like a cobra that is probably the most famous, maybe up there with the anaconda, because of movies and stuff. But the cobra, with the flaps.
The flaps,
The hood is yes, I should have gone with hoods much more. The cobra prefers for it to be called a hood rather than the flaps.
Yes.
So cobras are venomous?
Yeah. They're real bad. They'll kill you.
Okay. They'll kill you too. Okay, but they're no inland taipan, but they've got a little bit of juice.
Yeah. But it was interesting. Like, we found a cobra in April when I was in Thailand, and like I was trying to get photos of it, and I was hoping to get that photo of it like hooded up and everything like you sort of imagine a cobra would. But it was interesting that after, 10 minutes of handling it, it'd stop hooding up, and it's because it just wanted to get away. And I never I always just imagined that they'd always just hood up the whole time. But it just goes to show that, like, even when you're messing with a snake like that, like, it still just wants to get away, and it stopped getting defensive and just kept trying to get away instead of trying to bite me.
Oh, wow. So was it trying to hit you though at the start?
Initially, yeah. But it was more like mock strike. So like I'd put the phone on a selfie stick and get close and get a nice video of it up close, and then it would just sort of like hiss so loud and just strike out, and then like strike out with a closed mouth and just like bump the lens of the camera. Oh, wow.
Basically just telling you to fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's like someone in a fight pushing instead of punching. He's like, just fuck off. No, I don't want to fight you, man.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, they pull their hood down, so they just look like a normal snake.
Yeah, they look like a normal snake without the hood.
And you're just picking this thing up. Are you not shit scared? Are you not like, well, if I get bitten, I may die out here in Thailand?
No, well, I was like, I hope I don't get bitten, and I'll if it's going to bite me, I'll like put it down. But that was what we.
But how do you know if it's going to bite you? It's
if it starts coming up like it's going to try and bite me on the hand or something, I'll drop it. But
okay,
the plan is I hope to not get bitten. But like, we were mainly looking to see a cobra on that trip. That was the big target. Yeah. So I was really excited when we found that one.
And then the other snakes that are quite flashy are those like tropical coloured rainforest snakes with the the bright yellow with the stripes, or they've got those amazingly. It's same thing with the frogs. Are they venomous as well?
Are you talking about vipers?
I don't know. Am I?
Sounds like
what
maybe.
do vipers look like? Yeah, what do vipers look like?
They've got like the real broad heads. They spend a lot of time in the trees, like those triangle shaped heads, and they can be like crazy different colours, like yellow, blue, green.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay, so I'm talking about vipers. What's the difference between a viper and...
There's ground, like terrestrial vipers and arboreal vipers as well, but I think the ones you're thinking of, they're generally short and stocky. They hang out in the trees and stuff and smash rodents and frogs and all that sort of stuff. In Asia, mainly, in those Asian countries.
And they're venomous as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Interestingly, though, a lot of them aren't as likely to kill you. Like, they'll make your hands swell up and you'll be in a lot of pain for a few days, but there's a fair few of them that won't kill you, and you don't need to go to hospital for them. I see videos on Facebook of villages that like force these vipers to bite themselves for like medicinal reasons or something. I don't know, but yeah, it was interesting that a viper, which is something I always thought was a really dangerous snake, for that species isn't that bad.
Interesting. Okay, so so you get bitten and it's not life-threatening, but fuck, it'll be painful.
Yeah. There's a few snakes like that.
Wow, man, getting poisoned and what? Because there's the poisonous frogs as well, right?
Yeah, but there's no venomous frogs, I don't think. So the difference between poison and venom is poison is ingested and venom is injected. So you only get poisoned if you're like those poison dart frogs are only dangerous if you're eating them. But
I see. So it doesn't count as poisoned if you haven't ingested it.
yeah, well, like, you know, the cane toads, like, they're poisonous. If you eat them, you're fucked. But you can pick them up fine and it does nothing at all. Like, they're harmless.
Oh, wow. So if you get it on your skin, it's not a problem. Just don't lick your fingers.
As long as you don't eat the poison glands. Like, people do eat the legs and stuff of them, and it actually looks pretty nice. But as long as you don't eat the poison glands, you're sweet.
Yeah, well, fuck. Yeah. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is a poisonous frog just a defense mechanism, not an attacking kind of thing?
Yeah, it's like if you eat it, you'll die. But that's it. But like those poison dart frogs are like those really vibrant colours, because those vibrant colours in the animal kingdom mean like venomous or poisonous and dangerous. So that sort of tells any predators not to eat them, those colours. But then if they do eat them, then they sort of...
Oh, I see. So it's like the bright orange frog with the spots, or the fluorescent blue and red frog.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like that because he's basically saying it's a T-shirt that says "fuck off."
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's why a lot of the vipers are those nice colours as well.
Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't made that connection. So the frogs, it's a defense mechanism. You can eat me if you want, but you'll die.
Yeah.
and because of my obnoxiously bright colours.
Yeah, but then you get a lot of animals that sort of mimic that, and they'll have those vibrant colours but be completely harmless. And
okay,
I think
so
that's almost the sort of, say like... They're
trying to rip off the frogs. It works for the frogs, it's going to work for me.
Yeah, it's the Aldi version of the poisonous frog.
Frogs are hectic, man?
Yeah, they're sick. Frogs are the best.
Yeah, I love a frog. And I came across a beautiful green tree frog recently.
Yeah.
And it was huge. They're like a big, like basically the full size of my palm, and they're so placid and they're so like floppy. They've got all that kind of flabby skin. Yeah. And they're just the cutest.
They are.
Yeah. It's so cute, but they're all slimy, and, it's a frog. You would think it would be gross, but they are so cute, man.
They're actually like the most gangster frog, I reckon, in Australia. Maybe they're dumb as well, but they eat other snakes. They eat anything you put in front of them. But there's photos of them with taipans and brown snakes and stuff hanging out of their mouths. And they'll just swallow a snake live and ask questions later. And when I was working with keeping them and stuff, you'd go to clean out their tanks and you'd put your hands in. They just start swallowing your fingers down to the knuckles and just hang off your hand.
Holy shit. That is pretty thug.
Yeah. I'd be scared of one if I was a baby snake, that's for sure.
A big old green tree frog. How big do they get?
As big as your palm, probably a bit bigger even.
So that's not huge, and they're taking on snakes. They'll just eat a snake alive.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, they don't even think about it. They just eat anything that moves in front of them. They'll eat other frogs and stuff. But then it's funny, they can get eaten by things, and they also sort of don't seem to care. I've seen videos of green tree snakes that have eaten green tree frogs, and then the frogs are calling from inside the snake's stomachs.
Wow, so they're really hardy little bastards.
Yeah, they are. They're actually a mad frog.
Can they, if they were to eat a poisonous snake or a poisonous frog, would they die as well, or can they handle it? Okay, so maybe they are a little bit doughy. They're just real greedy. They're just like, I'll have that. I'll eat that.
Yeah, well, they're so fat. They definitely eat too much.
Yeah.
But there actually are a few animals that can eat cane toads in Australia, which is pretty cool. Yeah. There's two in southeast Queensland where you are. You get the sawshell turtle and the keelback, which is a freshwater snake.
Oh, wow.
And they can both survive cane toad toxins. If you look at something like a raven, they know to flip the toads onto their backs and pick out their bellies, because that's not where the poison glands are.
Whoa, man. Birds are wicked smart, huh?
They're so smart. Ravens are on another level.
I feel like birds are very underappreciated with just how intelligent they are.
I agree. I reckon a lot of animals are a lot smarter than they get credit for.
Yeah, well, that's a deep quest. That's a deep discussion, isn't it? When you think about what are they really able to perceive? Like, we know dolphins are apparently smarter than we are, but they're wild animals, man. It makes you wonder what happened to humans. How did we get this way? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Maybe part of me thinks like that maybe we're aliens. Part of me is like, I don't know if we evolved. I don't know if we just evolved this fast and everything else.
Yeah.
And everything else didn't.
Yeah, right.
Well, maybe we were brought here and we're actually aliens and we haven't really evolved at all. We've just always been like this.
Yeah, that'd explain a lot.
That's one of my cooker theories anyway. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but with the cane toads, do you know the story about what happened with the cane toads and how they were brought out here?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's right. Ridiculous, right? So now correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that what happened was they brought out this cane toad from another country, brought them to Australia to eat insects that were killing the sugar cane. And
the sugar cane beetles or something.
That's right, the sugar cane beetle that was killing the crops. And yet the cane toad couldn't even jump high enough to eat the bugs and just bred like crazy and became a national problem, like a problem.
Mm-hmm. I think it was South America that they came from. But that's spot on.
And there's and such a big problem because there's been pretty much nothing that can kill them. Yeah.
It seems like for a long period of time in the top end, a lot of those goannas and things were getting wiped out. But it sort of seems like now they're making a bit of a comeback and they're sort of learning to live with them. So they're sort of adapting as time goes on, and maybe they just know not to eat them, or maybe they're building up a slight tolerance as well. I'm not sure.
Isn't that interesting how nature will, not to quote Jurassic Park too early, but nature finds a way,
but like the toads are still expanding across like a lot of Australia. They're moving across the Kimberleys further and further each year and going further south. I literally found a cane toad 15 minutes from my house in March.
So it's getting worse.
Yeah, that cane toad must have come down on someone's bag or something, but all it takes is for a male and a female to come down and put one spawn in a pond, and they're everywhere.
Okay, because I'm not really up to date on cane toad news.
Yeah.
So it's not getting better. They're spreading even more.
They're spreading every year. Yeah.
Fuck. Wow, what a problem, huh? Do they just kill a bunch of our native wildlife?
Yes.
The bugs they can eat?
Every year when they're spreading, those animals have to get used to the cane toad, so there's just massive declines because they're not used to them. And then, they're just wiping out anything that eats like frogs and those small sort of critters that live on the floor are getting wiped out.
Fuck, I've got to start killing the cane toads, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
What's the best way to kill a cane toad?
On camera, freezing it. But off camera.
I'll cut out that part, but I'll just give my reaction to what you said. People are like, I wonder what he said. Yeah. Brutal. But they have to go. They're a problem, aren't they? Apparently, if you pour vinegar on them, that
sort of makes them suffer.
That's what I thought. You want them to just be dead.
Yeah, you can fridge them and then put them in the freezer. You put them in the fridge for an hour or two and they just get real cold and go to sleep, and then the freezer just sorts them out.
Oh, okay. So it's the calmest way.
Yeah, but I think blunt force trauma saves them saves you a lot of time and effort. But then the problem with that is if you see one on the road, something can still eat the body. And
that's right. The dead body still has the
yeah.
Wow, it's a real problem. It's really a perfect storm that they've been brought here and been able to thrive so well in Australia to the point where they're just spreading. And it's not stopping. They're like an unstoppable army. There's just hopping all the way down the border.
Yeah. It's wild to think about, but there's a few different interesting introduced animals into Australia. I bet you didn't know there's corn snakes are an introduced snakes that are now considered to be established in Sydney from the US. They're native to the US, and you find them in Sydney in the city and stuff. They get into people's backyards because people keep them illegally and they escape, and now they've started breeding.
Oh, wow. What are they? A corn snake?
Corn snakes, yeah. They're not anywhere near as common as cane toads are, and they're not anywhere near that level. But a lot of corn snakes do get caught by snake catchers and stuff around Sydney, and they're an established
introduced species.
Yeah. Actually, there's an Australian snake that is introduced into an island called Guam, and it has basically had the same effect as cane toads have in Australia, where it's wiped out several different species of birds. I think it's made 6 species go extinct on this island, and that's because they just smash birds. That's a brown tree snake. You find those around the Gold Coast where you are as well. But yeah, they just smash birds, and they've been breeding like mad in Guam and just wreaking havoc on the birds up there.
Wow, it's really interesting, isn't it? When the right animal is introduced to the right climate for it, it's like, sweet, you guys have got no idea what you're in for. You've got no defenses, and I'm just going to destroy you.
Hectic, but
what is it about the cane toads that are so interesting? Because they're as an animal, I know we hate them and they're doing really bad things to Australia, but they are an interesting toad, right?
They're sick. I like them as an animal, and it sucks that they are in Australia and that they have to be killed, because they're a cool animal in their own right, and it'd be cool to see them in their native range where they belong. They're just cute, fat little chubs. But yeah,
they are. They're like, they're kind of like they look like the evil version of a green tree frog.
They do, like a green tree frog on or something.
On what?
On meth.
yes, but if it was fat, it's like the Jabba the Hutt version of a green tree frog, because they've got that same jowly kind of flabbiness, but they've got all these pointy, warty, they're like an evil green tree frog. Unfortunately, a green tree frog versus a cane toad, the green tree frog would lose, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Even if it does kill the toad, it'll come off second best.
Man, brutal little bastards. So what are you doing? Like, what's your job? Is this something you're trying to move into as your career?
Is like what, YouTube and stuff?
Well, just finding animals and learning about wildlife. Yeah.
Well, I'm currently still getting my degree done.
What are you studying?
Ecology and conservation biology.
Okay.
So I'll be done end of next year. But in the meantime, I've been doing a bunch of different ecological work on a bunch of different interesting animals. My favourite is probably the Monaro earless dragon. I got the shirt. Now this is a Monaro earless dragon.
Okay. Tell me about it.
My favourite species. They're so sick. They're like they're little rock nuggets. They're a small little fat dragon, and they live on the Monaro Plains, which is just this vast grassland, and they rely on wolf spider burrows for shelter, like a burrow like this big, and they just live in the ground, like in those spider burrows, and that gives them a place to breed, to shelter, to lay eggs, to avoid the heat in summer. And so to survey for them, there's a bunch of little PVC tubes that are like, this big and probably that tall, like 15 centimetres tall, and they're dug into the ground to replicate the spider burrows, and you find the dragons using them, and they're so cool. And you can ID each one from back patterns, like a fingerprint. So we can look at a photo of one and be like, oh, we saw this one 2 years ago. So each dragon we find has got like individual names. And
so
like, we go out and know them. Yeah. It's actually sick.
Are they endangered?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. We were talking about insects. Are there less insects now? Like flying biomass, is that decreasing?
I think it sort of fluctuates, doesn't it, with the rain and stuff. Sometimes you get like those hectic plagues of flying insects and stuff with the weather. I think because there hasn't been heaps of rain around Sydney at least, there hasn't been much rain lately. So a lot of the bugs just aren't out as much. But then once you get into summer and it's like hot and humid and stuff, I swear there's a lot of bugs.
Lot more. I think so I'm 38 now, and when I was a kid, we would go on family holidays and it'd be a bit of a road trip, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember when I was a kid going on a 5-hour, 10-hour road trip, man, we would have to pull over a couple of times just to clean the windshield of bug.
Yeah, right.
There was so much, and that was common, obviously on a summer holiday, it would be like when you get petrol, you clean the windshield because there's so much bug juice on the windshield.
Yeah, right.
And gradually, like now that doesn't happen. Like it's rare that you get a big bug splat on the windshield.
It's interesting when you go out looking for snakes, you always hope for a night with good bugs, like a lot of bug activity. I don't know why, but I swear just the nights that have so much bug activity are just the best. Maybe it's because like when all the bugs are out, all the things that eat bugs come out like frogs and lizards and stuff, and then the snakes follow. Sure. Maybe that's why, I don't know, but it just seems to be like when there's a heap of bugs out, it's always a good night to look for snakes and stuff.
Okay, that's a pro tip. That is, if it's buggy, and you're in the money.
You need lots of flying insects.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's bait essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
What are your favourite kind of animals to search for and find in the wild? Reptiles?
Oh yeah, snakes and frogs.
What are some of the wildest frogs? Because frogs they're a very interesting type of animal, and there's so many different types of frog, right?
One of my favourite ones is a crucifix frog. It's literally a golf ball sized frog. It's so round, and they just burrow into the soil when it's too dry, and then when it's wet, they come out of the soil. They're out in arid New South Wales and Queensland and stuff, and they come out with they've got little depressed, little sad faces, and they're just like so cute. And there's a heap of those desert frogs that just shelter in underneath the soil, and then once the rain comes out, they come out as well. But I like red-eyed tree frogs a lot just because they're an iconic frog and they're really pretty.
They're the ones with the blue on their legs as well?
I don't know if they have blue on their legs.
Okay, maybe that's a different one. There's I'm picturing in my mind that green tree frog with I think it's got yellow under its chin and then like a blue streak along its back legs or on its tummy. Do you know the one? It
could be in one of the overseas ones because there are a few different like red-eyed tree frog sort of looking things. Like there's a Costa Rican red-eyed tree frog and then southern Australia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're cool. And then Asia's got a bunch of cool frogs like the flying frogs with the webbing between the feet, so that helps them like glide when they're jumping from the trees and stuff, which is pretty sick.
Flying frog, wow.
Asia's the land of the flying animals. Like they've got flying frogs, they've got flying lizards, and they've got flying snakes as well. That's crazy.
Flying snakes?
Yeah, they've got they can just expand these little flaps in their scales, and it just helps them glide.
Wow,
that's crazy. Yeah,
just snakes just launching themselves through trees.
Yeah, I don't know if they do it that often, but they definitely can do it. There's videos on YouTube and stuff of them doing it. It's pretty insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where have you visited? I know you went to Borneo. Where else have you gone?
Did Thailand as well on that trip. So like Bangkok, Phuket, Krabi. I've been to
There's so
Komodo.
Much jungle there too, right?
Yeah, that's the best bit.
Yeah.
The jungle's the best spot. We did Komodo and Bali and stuff last year. And then those are the only sort of overseas looking for wildlife trips I've done.
Okay.
But then it's mostly around Australia. But yeah, Darwin and stuff is an area that I'm dying to get back to. So I'll probably find a way to make that work this summer.
Yeah, wow.
So we're going to get back up to Darwin. Lots of good snakes up there.
Dude, Darwin in the summer. It's just like, what's the weather like in Darwin in the summer? Is it raining?
So hot and humid.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, lots of rain, and there's lots of road closures. Crocodiles are everywhere. They're in the culverts and stuff on the sides of the road, and when the big puddles fill up, you'll drive along at night and shine your torch out, and you'll see a big saltwater crocodile sitting in the
just hanging out in the puddle on the road.
Yeah, you can't go near any of the water out there in the wet season.
Really? Wow. So they're that prominent.
Yeah, it's crazy. But But that's where people are dumb, and this is why people get taken, is because people only get taken from doing stupid things like swimming where they shouldn't be and stuff.
Sure.
But, like, when you know to stay away from the water, you're safe. And that's the annoying thing about when someone does something dumb and gets eaten by a crocodile, is that the crocodile then gets killed for doing what it would naturally be doing. And it's just stupid. When I was in Kakadu a few years ago on that trip I was telling you about with all the bugs, we had two cars, so my mate's car and our car. They drove through, and this was like water was like flooded up to the road, and they saw a saltwater crocodile on one side of the road, and then they saw some rangers peeking over, like looking at it, and they looked really nervous. Then we drove through like 20 minutes later, and then the crocodile was miraculously dead. They told us it got hit by a car and they had a jaw rope on it, and you can't get a jaw rope on a dead crocodile, so they've obviously put a jaw rope on it and
killed it.
They killed it, and they got us to like help us lift it into the tray, but like it was out in the middle of nowhere, so I don't know, it was just really sus. And then even if they don't kill a person, if they bite a person, they'll go there and they'll kill that crocodile, and it's stupid.
Yeah, it is really unfortunate, isn't it? It's like you hear about people getting eaten by sharks and that kind of thing too, but they don't ever they don't come into to try and find people, do they? Like they try and avoid people.
Yeah, they're just doing what naturally comes to them. Yeah. But like I've literally heard of them killing magpies for swooping people and stuff. That's like,
I know. That's it's really lame, isn't it? Like we are really becoming so disconnected from nature. It is sad. I was watching a show, one of those like late night shows. They had a wildlife person come in and bring a bunch of insects on the show. It was in the States, and I think it was Kevin Hart and someone else was being shown these bugs. There were insects and there were some reptiles. And man, he just like, it was funny, and then it became really pathetic about, at least in my opinion, his response to these animals. He was so terrified, and maybe he was hamming it up for the camera or whatever. But he was so terrified, and from something that you really didn't. There was really no need to be. He wasn't in danger. There's no need to be terrified. And I just had this thought. I was like, wow, he personally, obviously, and I'm sure a lot of other people are so disconnected from the natural world that they really don't understand what they should and should not be afraid of. And it's sad.
Yeah. It makes it hard when you get people like on social media that have a big following from like working with snakes and stuff, but they give the wrong message and they use that for fear mongering and try and make it out like all these snakes are aggressive and stuff because that gets lots of views. But all that does is then push that negative perspective on snakes towards people or crocodiles or whatever it may be. There's this one person, I don't know his name, but I saw this video of him like pretending that this cobra was chasing him and trying to like step real close to it to get it to come at him, and then it would sort of stop and he'd step real close to it again. And he's like, oh, it's coming right for me. And it's like, all that does is just make people scared of cobras now.
Yeah. And and probably make people kill them unnecessarily.
Yeah.
What's the reality of that? So okay, you've got these really venomous snakes. How aggressive are they? How afraid of them do you really need to be?
You don't need to be afraid of them at all. Like, they are literally all harmless if you leave them alone. And like from like a catching perspective, like when I see a brown snake that I want to catch, I'll go try and like, they're one of the hardest snakes to catch because they've got such good eyesight and they'll see you come from a mile away and disappear. They don't want anything to do with you. People that make it out like they get chased across paddocks, but anyone who actually says that is just a complete lie. That has never happened. Like, even there's been so many brown snakes that I've literally run up on and been within a meter of my feet and they still just get away. You really have to just get in their personal space. They're really nervous, so in the right circumstance where they have got nowhere to go, they will defend themselves. But
sure,
just the reputation that they have is just completely wrong. And it's the same with tiger snakes as well. And like a lot of these things, and they're just getting killed when they don't need to be. Like, if you see a snake and you leave it alone, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. And that's just the annoying thing when people are out there saying all this shit about being chased by brown snakes and stuff. Like sometimes when they get really defensive, they'll charge you for maybe a meter and just try and put you on the back foot to create a bit of space between them. And then they always turn around and try and get away. They never come after you and stay coming after you at all. It just shits me when people say stuff like that, because it's just, yeah. Well, to be honest, it's just lying. Like snakes have, there's not been a time when a brown snake has chased somebody across a paddock. I would bet my life on it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a fancy, exciting story, but it's just not the way it goes.
It's all just so exaggerated, and people talking about they've seen like 3 meter brown snakes and brown snakes breeding with tiger snakes to create a crazy aggressive snake and all this shit. It just doesn't happen. And when people say these things to me, I just look at them and I'm like, oh, so you're a fucking idiot.
Yes, you're trying to tell a bullshit story to get a rise out of people. Yeah, okay, so that's sad. So, but it's also good to know that if you see a snake, you can almost be certain that snake wants nothing to do with you.
Absolutely, like nothing to do with you. And I still have these moments when I find things like brown snakes and death adders and stuff, and I'm there with the snake, and I'm like, this thing is so calm. Like, just the whole perspective on this snake is so undeserved, and like this is such a gentle, calm animal when you show it respect. And like it's just always, it still mind boggles me that like something that I was brought up as well thinking is such a dangerous animal that you can't get near is like right here in front of me, and it's just so calm and it doesn't care about me at all. It's not trying to bite. And I feel like sometimes that's like some of my favorite things about finding these snakes as well, is just sort of seeing them like that.
You're understanding them for a very misunderstood animal. I respect snakes. I'm afraid of snakes the way my human instinct should be afraid of snakes, but I'm not afraid of snakes the way someone who's afraid of snakes is. You know what I mean? This irrational, get it away from me.
Yeah.
But I'm not, if I were to be around a venomous snake, man, my instinct would be like either kill it or get the fuck away from it.
In December, I think I'm going to be in southeast Queensland. So one night, come out and look for snakes for me, and I'll show you. All right. Show you what it's about.
All right, I'll come on a snake hunt out in the wilderness, man. Wow. What will we find?
Carpet pythons are pretty much guaranteed up there. There's a few real good ones like Stevens banded snakes and rough-scaled snakes, crown snakes and small whites. There's so many species to find. Wow. I think you'll be amazed. There's so many things that are out there that people don't even know about. A lot of these small snakes that are 30 centimeters long and just live quiet, secretive lives that most people have never even heard of.
Well, actually, not that long ago, there was I haven't seen a snake for years, but it was on the road, just like right outside my house. I live on a cul-de-sac, there was this beautiful, it was only little, but it was green and this like almost pearlescent coloring coming off this gorgeous, I guess it was just a green tree snake, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Man, they are beautiful animals.
Yeah, they're so nice. And in southeast Queensland, you get these blue-faced tree snakes where they're like this really nice blue colour. I've never seen one like that, but yeah, they're really good. I'd love to see them.
So how are you with insects like scorpions and spiders and stuff?
Scorpions don't bother me too much. I'm not the biggest fan of spiders, to be honest.
Why? Like, talk to me about scorpions. I've never even seen a scorpion, I don't think, in real life. But they've got the stinger on the back and the crabby pincers on the front.
Yeah.
And they're venomous, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we have any scorpions in Australia that'll kill you. I think I don't know if this is just a rumor, but I think it's like the smaller they are, the more venomous they are.
Interesting.
I believe overseas there are scorpions that are pretty bad to get stung by, but definitely not in Australia. There's nothing, like you get like localized, like a bee sting or a wasp sting or something, but I don't think you get any that are going to knock you around.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I guess, again, this is how they've been portrayed in movies because it's glamorous that if, scorpions will kill you,
Yeah.
There was that movie. Did you ever see the movie Hook?
Nah.
About Peter Pan? Is it Robin Williams is in it?
Oh, yeah. No, I did actually.
Yeah. Well, you may remember there's the scene where the pirates get one of their other pirates who betrayed them. They stick him in what's called the boo box, which is basically a little crate
Yeah.
And they shut the lid, and then there's a little peephole. They drop scorpions in. And he's like, no.
I remember that.
And I guess we're to presume that killed him. Well, that's what I presumed as a child.
Yeah.
When I first watched it, I was like, yeah, he's dead. He's dead for sure.
Yeah.
And immediately my association with scorpions is don't fucking touch a scorpion because it'll kill you.
Yeah. Like we get marbled scorpions here, which are really quite small, like not even 5 centimeters long. But like, yeah, I know people have been stung by them, and they say it's just like a wasp sting sort of thing.
Okay.
So I don't think it's the end.
They're a pretty rad animal, a scorpion. Like they're pretty metal, you know, like they've got that, you know, the pincers at the front and then the whoosh from the back. It's a pretty badass setup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It's quite cool. They're actually a pretty sick bug, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I dig a scorpion now that I really think about it. It's such a weird format, you know, like they've got little legs behind. I'm trying to picture a scorpion now.
Yeah, they do. There's like little crab legs almost.
So it's almost like a land crab.
They sort of are like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but with a fucking whoosh from the coming up from the back. Like imagine if a crab had like a big spur thing at the back. That'd be wild. Freaky. Okay, let's talk about spiders then. Spiders are the most commonly encountered creature that people hate, I would imagine.
Yeah, like you see shit tons when you're out in the bush and stuff. Where we live, we get heaps of funnel webs. So like one time we were digging the frog pond down the back and we dug up 13 funnel webs that day. But
because a funnel web can kill you, right?
Yeah, they can kill you, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but like again though, like they're like fine if you leave them alone as well. Yeah. They're freaky, but even when we get them in the house, I don't kill them. Even though they're not like I think funnel webs are actually sick, to be honest. But like huntsmen and stuff freak me out a bit because they just got long legs, long hairy legs. It's a bit weird.
Isn't it interesting? Huntsmen's look so frightening because they're massive. Mm-hmm. You know, we get a bunch.
Yeah, and they run really weird.
Yeah, and they can't even do anything to you, right?
No, I've been bitten by a huntsman before. I was like reaching into a bush to grab a handball out, and one got on my arm, and I didn't even realize, and I just felt it biting me on the arm, and that kind of freaked me out a bit. Yeah, I think they're probably my least favorite spider, to be honest.
They're your least favorite spider. Okay, what's your favorite spider?
Funnel web. I like tarantulas too. I don't touch them, but I like them.
Do we have tarantulas here in Australia?
Yeah, North Queensland.
Oh, North Queensland.
Yeah, like whistling tarantulas, I think they're called.
Wow, do they whistle?
Probably, actually. I don't actually know, to be honest.
There's probably a whistle there.
Yeah. They get pretty big. They're sick.
The tarantula, well, same thing. Another movie, Home Alone. You've seen Home Alone?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, where they've got, you know, he's got his pet tarantula and they put it on the guy's face and he does that scream. And
you think he dies.
Yeah, terrified. So the same thing, you know, I guess because it's a big spider, right? It's one of the biggest spiders. Yeah. Is it the biggest species of spider there is?
I honestly don't know that much about spiders, to be honest.
Yeah. Hey, look, man, I'm with you. If there's one thing you're going to stay away from, I'd be staying away from spiders. I don't hate them, but I'm just like, I don't need spiders in my life.
Yeah.
You know? No. I'm with you on the reptiles. The reptiles are much more interesting to me. I can be like,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, spiders are fine, but
they're definitely not on par for me with grasshoppers on the freaking me out scale. But definitely don't fuck with spiders.
Yeah, don't fuck with spiders. Well, I don't know anything about tarantulas. I don't even know. Are they venomous?
Yeah, they're not like a kill you kind of venomous though. I think, to be honest, funnel webs are the only spider in Australia that'll kill you. Maybe mouse spider too. I'm not positive, but like I know redbacks are venomous and they make you real crook. I don't think that they're very likely to kill you. Interestingly, it's like red belly black snakes. They don't usually kill people. Well, they've never killed anybody. If you get bitten, you're more than likely not going to die. You're just going to be really crook, but you won't die from one.
Interesting. Okay. This is a red belly black snake.
Yeah, unless you're like a small kid or an adult, like a healthy adult getting bitten by a red belly is not going to die.
Because there's quite a few species of black snake, right? There's yellow bellies. Are they?
Yellow bellies aren't actually a thing. That's I don't actually know which species that's related to because I've heard it all over. I'm assuming it's probably tiger snakes that are called yellow bellied black snakes.
Really? So that's just describing what they look like. They are a black snake with a yellow belly, but that's not the breed.
Yeah.
The breed. The species.
I don't actually. I'm fairly certain it's tiger snakes that are called yellow-bellied black snakes. But you do get spotted black snakes and collettes black snakes. King browns are actually not a brown snake; they're a black snake. They're called mulga snakes as well, but they're in the black snake family too.
Oh wow! So that's
it's a misleading name.
It's a very faded shade of black.
Yeah,
a brown. So it's so black it's brown.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, you don't even like the king browns are so variable as well. Like you get out. Do you know where St George is? Like west of the Gold Coast. Yeah, like out there you get these beautiful red mulga snakes that are like they're found mostly around that Brigalow area, and then you go to Alice Springs and you get a grey colour with these white speckles and stuff on them, and then up north in the Northern Territory and stuff they're a creamish colour, and you go further south into other areas and they're a grey colour. It's wow, it's crazy how different they can look.
So is the species called mulga snake?
Mulga snake is another name for king brown snake.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do with yourself? What do you want? What's your end goal? What do you want to? Where do you see this going?
I would like to keep working as an ecologist and work with a lot of different endangered species and a lot of that sort of stuff as well. But I think at the end of the day, the thing I want to do the most is to change people's opinions on snakes and reptiles in general. That's the thing I'm most passionate about.
Yes.
And the thing that I think needs the most work as well is the opinions that people have on reptiles for a lot of different reasons as well. But if you look at, there's a few endangered snakes and stuff, and they no one really bats an eye at them, and you need people to be able to appreciate snakes and respect them so that then they can get more recognition for needing conservation as well. And that's really important. And even just stopping people from putting shovels through snakes and all this stuff, I think.
Mate, I did that when I was a kid. We would do that. I've killed a few snakes in my life because I grew up in the country, and it is sad, I guess, because they have so much potential for harm that people are just nah, get rid of them.
Yeah, people fear what they don't understand.
Yes,
and to be honest, I'm a bit freaked out by sharks. I obviously don't understand their behavior, and I just see videos on TikTok that sort of fearmonger sharks, and so when I go if I go snorkeling or something, that's all I'm thinking about is being scared of sharks and that a shark could pop up, and that and I know that fear is because I don't understand sharks and their behavior, and so I'd imagine that's the same sort of thing that people see with snakes, that they sort of see those scary videos and then that's all they think about when they're out in the bush, and then when they actually see one, it's a lot scarier than it actually is.
Yeah, man.
And you just think that a shark's going to, for me, I'd think that if I see a shark in water, it's going to bite me, when more often than not, the sharks see you long before you see them.
Yes.
And they do not bite people anywhere near as often as they're made out to.
Yes.
I still don't understand sharks, and I'm still freaked out by them, but at least I know that that's driven from not understanding them.
Yeah, totally. Like a shark, don't worry, if a shark wants to kill you, you're dead. It's before you even knew about it. You're not seeing the shark like you do in the movie, and it's no, slowly coming up. You're fucking dead. You're in half if the shark wants to. I chatted with a guy named Hoppo, he's on Bondi Rescue, and and he was telling me about this system they had. They put these boys, I don't know if he did, but a company that did it, put these boys out to measure all the different sea life that was out there, and they could tell what was what. They could tell that it was very specific. They could tell what was a dolphin, what was a shark. They were able to tell all this stuff. And he said the data was really interesting because the amount of sharks that it picked up was a lot, and they don't care about people. They're just not interested. And I asked him, I said, why do you think that is? And he goes, we're just not on the menu. Like we're just, so it's almost, I don't know, for me, that's kind of more comforting to know that there's lots of sharks out there and they just aren't interested, instead of there's very, very, very few sharks out there, because that would make you think that if you should be worried if you do see one. But no, there's loads of them, and they just don't care.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing with the snakes as well.
Yeah, right. There's probably a lot of snakes around, and they really don't want anything to do with you.
There's so many more snakes around suburbia and stuff than people realize.
Really?
Like, it's insane. And majority of people have absolutely no idea. I guarantee it. Because if they knew how many snakes were around, they would be freaking out. But that just goes to show that so many snakes can live like unnoticed, pretty much under people's noses. They've got no idea they're there.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, you just coexist with them if you just be cool.
Yeah.
They don't want to mess with you. What's the trick? I remember when I was a kid, I don't know, you tell me if this works, but I would always put the gumboots on, and my dad would be like, stomp your feet really hard as you're walking up to go and get the eggs for the chickens to try and scare off any snakes. Is that the best thing you can do?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, watching where you're walking and stuff's a big thing, so you don't step on one. Because if you do step on one, then it may feel threatened and bite.
Of course.
But yeah, to be honest, I don't make an effort to do heavy footsteps. Obviously, I'm looking for them, but like, it doesn't make that much of a difference. They generally sort of see you, and they'll take off as soon as they do.
Yeah,
okay. The heavy footsteps can definitely help, especially for things like brown snakes and tiger snakes and stuff. They'll move on from those heavy footsteps. But yeah, just watching where you're going, and I guess just not walking through like areas with thick cover and stuff.
Sure.
Just as well, like, so you know that there's nothing there.
Yeah. Don't hang out. I mean? Don't hang out where they like to be. How about that? You know. Yeah. Don't go frolicking in the long grass.
Yeah, definitely.
I used to live in the States, and there's a lot of big predators in the States.
Yeah,
you know, like fucking bears, man.
Yeah.
We don't, apart from crocodiles, what have we got in Australia as far as predators are concerned?
Like the sharks, and that's it. But like on the land, there's nothing. I guess maybe dingoes. I don't even think that really counts though.
Yeah, right. So that's our yeah.
Yeah, it was like when we went to Asia as well, it was like insane. Like, people make it out like Australia is really dangerous, but in Asia, like, there's tigers and leopards and elephants and all these things would easily kill a person, where in Australia you don't have to worry about anything on the land that's like actually going to be able to kill you.
Yeah,
that easily.
But yet the thing, and I think it is more creepy though in Australia, because you get a little funnel web that you may not even see. You know, how big are they? That big?
Yeah, that big.
3 centimeters. Yeah. And how long does it take for funnel web to kill someone if you've been bitten?
I heard of someone dying within 20 minutes, maybe.
Whoa.
But that could have been a rumor.
Wow.
But you need to get to hospital as soon as possible if you're bitten by one, for sure.
So what's the protocol if you're bitten by a spider compared to a snake?
Don't quote me on this, but I feel like it's the same. I'm pretty confident it's the pressure immobilization.
Okay, because
bandage
it's all about the venom moving through your bloodstream, right?
I'm pretty sure, but I'm not confident on that.
Yeah.
I should definitely find that out.
I wonder what is more painful, being bitten by a snake or a spider, like what the process, the venom. I wonder, do you know what are the most painful things to be bitten by?
I've heard king brown snakes are really, really painful to be bitten by.
Right. But then you're just dead.
They don't kill that many people at all.
Really?
Their venom is not as likely to kill you as a lot of other things like brown snakes and stuff. A big one, like, because they can get to 3 meters long. Like, if you got bitten by like a 2 or 3 meter king brown, you'd be in a lot of trouble. But
that's a big scary snake, huh? With that much venom and to be 3 meters long, that's pretty badass.
Yeah. They've also got the biggest venom yield of any Australian snake too.
So just pumping you full of this death juice.
Yeah. So like what they lack in toxicity, they make up for in quantity of venom.
Okay.
So that like drop for drop, the venom isn't as toxic as certain other snakes like browns and stuff like that. But because they have so much of it, that's what makes it so bad.
Oh, okay.
And it's just really like there's a lot of pain involved with pretty much all black snake bites, I'm pretty sure. Like real painful, and you can lose your smell and your taste. They can cause necrosis as well, which is like rotting of the flesh.
No way.
Yeah, but they're all really like all of the black snakes are just such laid back, gentle snakes in like by nature anyways. And a lot of them do that mock striking thing where they'll flatten their necks out like a cobra would, just not to the same extent, but they'll flatten it out and then they'll lunge at you with like a closed mouth. And they're more so bluff. They will bite, but they're more bluff than anything else.
Interesting. Did you know if it takes any, obviously like with a bee, if a bee stings you, a bee is sacrificing its life because its abdomen comes out, right?
Yeah.
What does it cost a snake to hit you and bite you and put venom into you?
Nothing really. Like maybe a few broken teeth or a broken fang or something, but they shed their fangs anyways, and the teeth, it's not really too much of an issue if they lose their teeth. A couple of teeth, that is. The most damage that's going to happen to them is when someone gets bitten and they're like shaking their hand or something with a snake hanging off.
So that's interesting, isn't it? That even though it doesn't cost them anything to really bite you and put venom into you, but yet they still don't really want to do it. They're trying to warn you off. They try and punch you. They hit you and be like, get away.
Yeah. And that's why they conserve that venom and give dry bites as well, because the venom's valuable to them. And giving dry bites, like they don't need to inject venom if they don't want to inject venom if they don't have to.
Well. I see. So does that take a while for them to charge up their venom fund?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Do you know anatomically where their venom is in their body?
They have their venom glands on the sides of like pretty much like this part of your head, like just at the back of the jaw. And so like when you see like a big like king brown snake or something with a big buffy head, you can see the big venom glands on the sides of it. And you're like, yeah, fuck. That thing would mess me up.
So it's kind of like the snake version of having big nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look at the glands on that snake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's really funny.
And speaking of nuts on snakes, they actually have two dicks as well.
Do they really?
Yeah, they do. They're called hemipenes, and they have two of them.
They're called hemipenes?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they look really weird and like spirally and spiky. And
So do female snakes have two vaginas?
No.
Okay, so what do they do with two dicks?
Threesomes, I think. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't know why they have two hemipenes.
Why not? If you've got the option.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go another one.
It only makes sense.
It only makes sense. How many can we go? So what's the configuration? Is it like a shotgun side by side, or is one on top of the other?
Yeah, side by side.
Side by side. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
That's wild. So they can. And so I've never really thought about this, but how do snakes make love?
They have this thing called a vent where they poo from and all that. And then, so the male's got his hemipenes in there, and then the female has her ovaries or whatever. And so they just lock those up and they wrap their tails up, and then that's when you see them breeding, you call it locking up, because they're like. So
they go like missionary position, tummy to tummy.
Yeah, but then it's all like their tails are wrapped up. Sometimes they're all like intertwined a little bit too. And then you sort of see the male like jerking his body in like these weird like movements.
Right.
Sometimes it can take hours for pythons and stuff, but other things like brown snakes and stuff are quite quick.
They just get in and get it done.
Yeah, the pythons have got a lot of stamina.
Right.
It seems like.
So the taipans might be the heavyweights of the dangerous side, but the pythons are the real Romeos.
Yeah, that's it. And the pythons actually like orgies too. You see like these big breeding balls of snakes and stuff. Like now's the time of year that the diamond pythons down here are starting to do it, where you get several males all following this one female and they're all trying to mate with her. And the males have these things called spurs next to their vent, little tiny little hooky things, and they flick them and try and like get the female all toey.
So it's like that's their foreplay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Geez, imagine coming across that, a snake orgy.
Yeah. I've got photos of it from last year on the beach in this crevice on the rocks. There was six diamond pythons or something. I saw lots of snakes in this big ball trying to breed with the female.
Wow. Oh, okay. So they all have a crack, and she just
releases the pheromones, and wherever she slithers then like any males that are slithering through will see that scent trail and they'll follow it until they see the female. And then when you get two males that cross the scent trail, they'll combat each other where they fight, and they just like twist each other up and try and push each other's heads down. They don't usually bite too much, but sometimes they do, and it can be a bit gory, but generally it looks like it'd be a pretty gentle sort of thing. And then the snake that's usually the biggest snake is usually the one that wins the combat, and the other one sort of slithers away.
Okay, so it's like that's the masculinity war of the snake world, where they're not so interested in trying to kill the other male. They just want to beat him up enough to go, I'm the boss.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating to chat with you, dude, because you kind of know a lot about things that people are just terrified about, and they really spend every part of their energy avoiding spiders, snakes.
Mm-hmm.
People really don't want to understand these creatures because they're so afraid.
Yep.
So it is. I think you're on a noble path of putting yourself in their company in order to show that you really don't need to be anywhere near as afraid of them as people are. Sure, You need to be afraid. You need to be sensible because they can kill you. But maybe a little bit more compassion towards these snakes and spiders would really be a much healthier attitude.
Yeah. And once you sort of get past that sort of like that initial fear, you realize that they're actually like so interesting. It's crazy. There's so much more to it than just like, oh, it's a snake. If you just watched a snake for a while, just seeing what it's doing, maybe a bird will come down and swoop it and scare it away or something, or maybe it'll start warming up and it'll start flicking its tongue around and sticking its head in all the crevices and stuff looking for frogs. Maybe it'll catch one, or maybe you'll watch it chase one. Maybe it'll swim through the water. Like, there's just so many interesting behaviors and things that snakes do, but nobody ever gets to tap into that because usually they run away when they see a snake or they kill it or whatever.
Yeah, people go straight into survival mode and don't actually appreciate what that snake's life is like, what it's doing, what its temperament is. Yeah, that is interesting. What are some of the weirdest animals that you've come across or that you know about?
I think proboscis monkeys were one of the weirder ones. They're like those big monkeys with these big, like, bulbous noses.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's like the males with the most. Yeah. The males with like the most testosterone have the biggest noses, and that's like the female's favorite.
Isn't that funny, man? So
they look so weird. They look like those villagers from Minecraft almost.
The flappiest nose is the most handsome.
Yeah. They're pretty whack.
Are they the ones with is that a similar species to the ones that have the big flat face? The males,
the orangutans.
That's orangutans, isn't it? Yeah.
And
the males have that. It's the more masculine and testosterone he has. The flatter his face flap is.
Yeah, the orangutans. Do that. And we got to see a big male orangutan in Borneo, and he had his big face flaps. They are actually huge. They're so much bigger than I thought they would be because I've never seen one in the flesh before.
So they're not quite as big as a person.
No, they're bigger than a person.
Oh,
like,
really?
Height-wise, no, but like wide, like that big male orangutan could easily have killed me if it wanted to.
Well, that's the thing, like with monkeys, right, and orangutans and those, like a gorilla, like a silverback, man, they're so powerful. You just see how I guess you can't really tell. You look at like a typical little monkey and they're skinny, but these orangutans and gorillas. Gorillas, you can see how strong they are, and they've got all that fur. But if you could like shave a gorilla or orangutan and see what especially the big strong males, see what their muscle structure is like, you'd be like, whoa, that dude is jacked.
Yeah. They are huge. It's insane. They're actually they're scary. I'd be so nervous seeing one in person.
Yeah,
I reckon.
Fucking oath, man. Because it would just tear you apart. It would literally just rip your head off.
Like it was nothing.
Yeah,
it was paper.
Yeah, just grab both arms, bye-bye.
Yeah, fuck, that'd be so freaky, eh? I was even a bit nervous with that orangutan, and it was clearly pissed off by us, and it was like shaking the branches in the tree trying to tell us to go away.
Oh, no.
Because it had a female on the other side of the road as well. And yeah, it was clearly not happy. And then for a moment, I thought it was going to come down, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go back to the car."
Yeah,
and
nah.
then it sort of went to a different tree, luckily. But like, they're not aggressive, so like, I've never even heard of orangutans doing that. I think they're quite passive generally, but I think it was just a horny male that was a bit annoyed that we were cock blocking him.
Yeah, hey, fair enough. You know,
Yeah,
he's like, guys, I've been tuning this chick for weeks. She's finally coming out. She's finally coming out to see me, and you guys are fucking it up. Get out of here. That's really funny. Well, do you know what are the most aggressive animals? You know, because everybody's so terrified of snakes and spiders, and you hear these bullshit stories of some snake chasing someone across the paddock, but it's just not what's happening. Do you know what creatures actually really are very aggressive by nature, apart from chihuahuas?
Yeah, chihuahuas, yeah. I think bears are pretty fucking scary. And I don't know if them eating people is out of aggression or if it's like them protecting their young or whether it's them looking at people as a food source. I don't know. But they are definitely, no matter where I am, I would never want to come across one in the bush, and I would be shit scared if I ever did.
I saw this footage recently. If I can find it again, it's on YouTube. I'll send it to you. But it's these guys, they're nature photographers, and they saw this fight between these two male brown bears. And as they're filming it, they're saying this is the best footage of a bear fight that we've ever seen, that's ever been recorded, because it goes for so long, and it's the quality of the recording is amazing. And man, they're enormous. They're so big and they're so strong, and they're just wrestling. It goes for ages too. It's like a 10-minute fight.
Yeah, right.
And they're biting each other like hard, and man, it's you put a person in there and you just mush.
Yeah, you'd not stand a chance.
Nothing. There's nothing you could possibly do at all.
And they swim and they run and they climb. Like there is nowhere that you are safe from a bear. You can't climb a tree to get away from one because it'll just come up and get you. And
isn't it interesting that a bear is the like a really common gift to give a little kid, a teddy bear? I wonder why we've done that. You know, why you know, a cuddly teddy bear when out of all the animals, you don't want to be fucking with bears.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah,
fucking hell, bears have got to be the scariest animal, I reckon.
Koalas are pretty chill.
Yeah, koalas are cool.
It's because they're stoned, right? Because the gum leaves just get them baked.
Yeah, they're heaps laid back. Have you ever heard a male's like territorial call?
Nah, do it for me.
No, I don't know how to do it, but it sounds so freaky. Like if you were out in the bush and you didn't know what it sounded like, you'd be shit scared. It sounds fucked.
And this is him trying to scare you off.
It's like, look, they do. It's like a bellow. I'm not sure.
It's like that. I think I can see it in my mind now, and he's going, he's doing this like
sort of like that, I think. But I actually don't know if it's like mating related or if it's like territorial when there's another male around or what it is, but if you didn't know what it was, you'd be freaked out.
Yeah, right. And they seem so cuddly and chill. Well, but that's the thing. Yeah. Like I'm sure that if you piss a koala off enough, it'll scratch your face off.
Yeah, I saw a video of a koala like grabbing a kid's legs and like trying to like climb up him while he's on the ground, and I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
That's not a happy koala.
Just because it's cute doesn't mean that he doesn't hate you. Like,
yeah, they actually got like sharp teeth and sharp claws. I would not be keen on picking up a koala. I reckon they'd do some damage.
Yeah, not in the wild. This has been cool. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah,
I feel like
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, mate. It's been really great. So where can people find you? What are you doing online?
I am Jesse's Wildlife on everything, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, cool.
And just snake or mainly reptile photography. And videos looking for snakes and reptiles and all that sort of stuff.
It's great, man. Your YouTube channel's great. Your Instagram's got some beautiful photos, dude.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's nice. You're capturing some amazing stuff that I didn't even know we had these creatures out there.
That's my favorite thing about it is finding things that people don't know exists.
Yeah. No, I'm a fan, dude, and you know don't get eaten or bitten or killed by any of these hectic creatures because I really love your content. For also I don't want you to die as well.
Oh yeah. That too, yeah.
But the content, mostly the content, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Thanks for coming on, man. Cheers.
Thanks heaps for that.